Hey everybody, it's Lebo with Lebo's Pinball. We are in part 4 of this card tricks game repair, restoration. I don't really know what you want to call it, but if you've been following along, you saw that we started out with fixing various things on this game. We had issues with the ball in play, doing some weird stuff where it would still have the ball tin lit up, and we throughout the whole game, even though it wasn't. We had issues where it would like to kick a ball out of the out hole over here into the shooter lane after a game was over. Got that taken care of, and even the spinner unit that would cycle different lights here in this little section here in the middle. We got that working where that wasn't working at all, and just kind of going over various things just to find what's working, what's not working, whatever. Just try to address it so that we've got everything working fine. And of course, we've been kind of waiting on some parts. I've had a few things show up. I've had a few things kind of get delayed in shipping, or they were shipped from the source. They've just been taking a long time through the post office. So it's kind of holding up a few things, but in the meantime, we can still make some progress on some stuff. Um, some things I want to go ahead and mention, and I've already kind of I can show it a little bit through here. So uh, I haven't pulled all the plastics or the posts or anything off here, and that's going to be one thing that I will be doing whenever we go to replace all the bands with silicone bands. We're going to put in new posts here because these are all kind of yellowed out a little bit. And so when I start stripping all that stuff out, it'll allow me to really kind of clean the play field. But I've kind of gotten a jump start on it. If you look like up in this area here, all through there, that's not really been, I've not really cleaned or polished that much at all. But if you start to kind of come down this area, you see how it's a little bit shinier, and that's just after going it, over it with a little bit of Novus number two. Uh, really, for this game, don't really need to use Magic Eraser too much. Um, a little bit in some places just to get some of the dirt out, but for the most part, just kind of polishing it with the Novus, and then later we'll come back and wax it just to really protect it. But just kind of give you a little bit of an idea of uh, how this will look. And I tell you, by feeling it, it's so much smoother. The ball will definitely roll a lot better on it, and it's just going to help protect it. But anyways, what we're going to do today, well, I've already got some parts. Um, this the shooter rod. One thing I like to do is take this out. We'll actually polish that handle. It's in fine shape. It can be restored. It doesn't need to be replaced, but we'll get that looking a little bit better. I'll put in a new barrel spring. This is kind of typical. They look like I don't know why, but it seems like they just kind of collapse over time. I don't know, just maybe just so many cycles. Maybe that's why it does it, but I'm not really sure. Um, and then there's a new nylon sleeve that's behind all of this that will we'll replace that as well, and it'll get a new shooter tip. This is an interesting looking tip that it's got right now. It looks like just I don't even know if that's. I'm not even sure that's really an official pinball part. It probably is, but I've never seen one quite like that. And we'll also make sure we get this thing lined up. There's some adjustment here. The way you put this in, the nuts are on the backside here. Before you tighten them down, there's a little bit of movement that can allow you to adjust right where you want this to land. And ideally, you want this so that when you've got the ball here, that it's hitting it, dead center right in the back. And that way, it's not doing any weird business going down the whole shooter lane. So we're going to focus on that. The other thing that I've got parts already that I can start doing too, this will be maybe a secondary thing if I've got time. These stand-up targets, there's 7 of them. They've kind of faded out. A lot of them have got some wear on it. I'm going to show you what's involved with replacing those. It's basically you're taking a switch stack apart, or maybe not completely apart, but you got to take it mostly apart and drill out a rivet, put in a new piece, and put a new rivet in. So enough of my yapping. Let's make it happen. Let's go. So let's take this thing apart. First thing I'm going to do, go ahead and pull off whatever shooter tip we've got here. I mean, like I was saying, this thing looks just like not your normal shooter tip. I mean, what they normally look like, something more like that. This has got a lot more rubber here on the end. This just looks like, I don't know, some kind of cap that somebody stuck on the end of a rod. Um, So anyways, we got that off. Let's go ahead and take this little C-clip off. I'll pop this loose. And be careful because it is spring loaded. There's usually, or sometimes there's a washer there. Other times you got it down on the other end, but let's just go ahead and slip this off, set it here to the side, pull this washer off. And the other thing that I'm looking for that happens a lot, and I can actually feel it already, I bet it's going to be an issue. So after so many hits of the ball, believe it or not, this metal starts to actually flare out. And it flares out so much that when you start to pull this out this way, look at that, it's stuck, it's trapped in there. So you can't pull the rod out just as it is. I mean, I guess you pull real hard, you might be able to pull it past the, that nylon bushing. But the trick that I've done is basically just have to kind of file this whole little edge down just a little bit. It's not going to affect the game as far as performance after that, because it's all talking about it's all about the hits here on the end. So we're going to file that down just enough so we can slip this out, and then we'll take it to the next step. Let's go ahead and take care of that. All right, I think that should probably do it. All right, let's check it, see if we can get this out. Yeah, it's still rubbing just a tiny bit, but there we go, slipped right out. So there we got the rod out. Here is the barrel spring that I'm going to replace. We'll take that guy out. All right, so now what we're going to do is go take this over to the buffing wheel and see if we can make this a little better. Here we are at the buffing wheel. I just got, it's just a cloth wheel, nothing special, and just some jeweler's rouge, I guess is what you would call it. So this is all stuff I just picked up at Harbor Freight. Fancy, fancy, fancy stuff. So let's go ahead and throw a little bit of this on here and see what we can do. All right, so that is right off of the buffing wheel, and not too bad. Now, what I'm going to do after this is I've got some other polish that I'll go use. I'll use a little bit of Mother's on this metal and just kind of take it out just a little bit more. May as well shine it up while we got it out, and then we'll throw it back in the game. Good old Mother's. I've used this on car parts, metal parts, on chrome stuff and whatnot that you just want to polish out. This thing is pretty hot. Anyways, let's go ahead and see what we can do with buffing this out without burning my hand in the process. It's still hot from the buffing wheel, but there you go. Starting to shine up a little bit, so let's just go a little more. At least let's go on the inside here. It's just one of these things, it's a contact point in your hands. I know it's so stupid that I'm making such a big deal over this, but it's the little details that go a long way, I think. While you got it out, just go ahead and clean it up. And just one little thing. A little bit cleaner, a little bit better, more better. All right. The other thing that I will do after I've used Mother's, there's always a little bit of residue, and always ends up being kind of a mess. So I take a little bit of rubbing alcohol here, and I'm just gonna clean everything off. I'll even notice it here usually in the paper towel will look kind of black afterwards. Just this last little bit. Okay, all right, there we go. Looking pretty good. Ready to put this back in the game. We're actually going to go swap out that nylon bushing, and I'll show you what's involved after we put it back together and just how to adjust it and what you're looking for. So let's head back to the cabinet. So we're going to take these nuts off. Got this driver here. We'll go ahead and loosen them up. Here's the first one. Washer behind it. Come on. Get this other one. It's a little tight by the switch for the flipper button over here, which by the way, I went ahead and kind of regapped these, just tightened them up just a tiny little bit. These had been replaced earlier, and they look fine. Should be no problem with them, unless they were not the right ones that take the higher level of current. But they don't look like they're wrong at all. They look right. Okay, so we got that out. The washer out. So here's that adjustability I was talking about. So you see all that? You got all kinds of movement here, left and right, and you want to be able to just dial this in properly when you go put everything back. So this is pretty easy. We're going to take that plate off. Now we got this out. And one thing I wanted to show you. So this is the top. I just removed that. And if you notice, of course, we've got the chrome or whatever piece that we're going to take out. But the nylon, if you look at that, relative to those studs, it's kind of tilted up. So if I flip it over, now it's tilted down. There is definitely an orientation that's involved. So we're going to take this old one out, and we've got the new one to be able to slip on here. It'll be good. But I tell you what I'm going to do while I got this out. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up just a little bit on the buffing wheel too. So we'll be right back. So after buffing the whole little plate down, it looks a lot better. And there's some brush marks that are on here originally. I try to retain that by not going too crazy. But we've cleaned it up here and it's ready to go back in. I've also went ahead and put the new bushing in. And if you remember, we've got it tilting upward. See if I flip it over, you can see it's a little more down. But upward is the direction that we want. And by the way, if you put it in upside down, the hole also will not quite align. So kind of can't go wrong on this. So only thing can go wrong is once you put it in the game, if you flip the whole thing over, that's kind of messed up. So all right, let's throw this in here. Let's get the plate for it. Throw this just on here for now. All right, let's go ahead and we got our shooter rod and our new barrel spring. Slip this in. All right, it's good. All right, so here is the actual shooter rod spring, and I'm just going to reuse the old one. I think this one's fine. I mean, sometimes I replace these, and they make different ones with different, different spring coefficient. Just if you've got one where you need to shoot the ball a little harder or softer, you can actually adjust that. But I would tell you on all these EM games, I've generally not had to do that at all. Oh, I need to go ahead and tell you, just go ahead and put this washer on. That way, when we put the spring on here, it's got a little better surface to actually bite down on. And so now we will go ahead and let's push this up and let's put the clip on. We got the clip in place and kind of got all crazy here. Come on. There we go. Let's go ahead and put the washers, the nuts back in place. And we'll go ahead and kind of snug this up, but we will not tighten it because we need to adjust it to get it right where we want it. But we can at least get it sort of holding itself in place while we take a look at it and see where we want to adjust things. All right. All right, I'll just kind of throw it there for now. I'm gonna go ahead and put the shooter tip on here too. Just take this and we'll push it in place. Come on. All right. And then, by the way, if you make all the mess with this with your dirty fingers, get a little bit of naphtha, put it on a paper towel or a rag, and this stuff wipes right off. It's amazing how well that you can clean up all these bands, whether it's rubber or silicone or polyurethane. They all respond pretty well by taking polyurethane. I'm sorry, polyurethane. The naphtha. If you put a little bit of that on a rag and wipe it off, I've always had pretty good luck. That just seems to wipe it off real easily. So, all right, so we've got this. We can now lower the playfield down, just kind of see how this looks relative to where we got it. So we've got the playfield lower back down. Let's just kind of take a quick look to see how the ball is lying relative to the shooter tip. Now, the first thing that I'm seeing, it looks like the tip is actually a little bit over to the right. We need to might shift it over to the left just a little bit. And the other thing is, how up and down is it? And it's a little hard to tell from this camera angle. And it might need to go down just a smidge, but for the most part, I think up and down is okay. The bigger thing that concerns me right now is just the left and right. So the problem is like if you hit this hard enough, it may not be a big deal right now because you got that whole little track that is just rolling up. But you hit it hard enough, that wasn't too bad. But normally what will happen is it causes the ball to kind of bounce back and forth going up, and just want to hit it dead center. All right, now there we go. To me, it looks like right where it needs to be. So ball hits just fine. Not really that major of a difference if it's off a little bit, at least what I've noticed, but may as well get it right. All right, let's go ahead and shift over to starting to work a little bit on some of these stand-up targets. All right, so starting out here on this drop target right here, let's go ahead and take a look underneath the playfield. So here's what we're going to have to do. So here it is right here. We're going to go ahead and unsolder all three of these wires. You have to kind of remember where they are. It's a good time right now to go ahead and take a picture of it just so that you can refer to it back later. But we're basically going to just take this whole thing out. We're going to drill out one of these rivets. Sometimes I'll do both, but I think I can probably get by with just one, and then we can pivot around the other. And what that does is it will open it up so that we can get inside here and actually drill out the back side of this whole drop target. And then we will put a new target in, put a new rivet in. We've got a tool where we can flare out the back side of it just right, and then we will put it back into the game. All right, so here we go. We got the drop target out here, and what we need to do is now drill out the rivet and kind of open things up. Ooh, hello. All right, got that drilled some, and then here we go. Now we can open this thing up, and that's what we're looking for, is to get in here so that we can actually drill this backside of the target. Let's see what we can do. All right, it's a little bit loose, I can tell already. Let's see if we can find something to kind of open this up. Yeah, sometimes you have to kind of get some tools here and just kind of keep working with it. All right, so drilling on this a little bit more, then I took a punch just like this, and I could punch out what was left of that rivet. And then now, a couple things. There is a little washer that's on the back side. If you can hang on to that, that's good. If not, you can just put a new one on. There we go. We got the old target out. And now it's kind of a good time. I would go ahead and just a little bit. And this is totally crazy. This is more of my anal retentive stuff, but I would like to go ahead and clean up, polish a little bit. Just what you will see from the player's perspective. Clean up the metal just a little bit. And we'll take care of the actual important contact just a little bit later. Let's go ahead and get the new target in place. And by the way, you can feel a couple little nubs here at the bottom, and they will straddle the actual little metal part of the target. And the reason that that is important, at least for some games, if the target has got some kind of artwork on there that is not, I don't know, it's concentric or whatever. That's not the right word, but in this case, this target doesn't matter because you could spin it all the way around and it would look the same. But sometimes you got a target where you need to get it just right. So here we go. We got the washer we can throw back on here, and then now we got to get our special tool. Let's see if we can kind of slide this over here, and then this special tool is just kind of it's designed to where we can flare that rivet out just right. Got to get my hammer. We will hit it a few times. It might have gotten it. It might need to be hit just a few more times. You can tell if it's spinning and rotating here. that's not good, which in this case, it is tight already. So that's how it's going to look. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run a screw through here in place of that long rivet, because I don't have any of them. And that'll be nice and tight. And we will go ahead and take care of scrubbing out this contact in here, and then we can throw it back into the game. All right, so we got the stand-up target put back in place, and it looks nice here. And I'll just show you underneath. We got the wires all put back in place. One thing I can't really show real well from here is I tightened up all the switches so that when the ball hits the target, that it makes the switches. There are actually two there. There's one in the front, one in the back. But once that is closed, the rest of the game knows that it's actually made. So we got 6 more switches to go, and then this will all be done. But folks, I just want to show this one. We're going to go ahead and close things up for tonight because I'm getting tired. But we are making some great progress on this game, and it's going to be awesome when we're all done. So we'll see you guys next time.